So most of the times I was sure. Of course, there was a lot of times that I picked up a yellow card. He took the outside, I took the inside. Can't be getting the ball in your face and just moan around as a different. Come on, where's your credibility going?
What does it mean to be a hard man? Is it just about tackles, or is it about other things you do?
No, it's not about that. It's just, of course, it's also being a leader in that midfield area, but also to your teammates. You know, being the one that can give the right energy, give the right intensity in the team, and also when things goes rough or gets down, you know, with the right tackle, you get your teammates going. So it's way more than only a tackle, you know.
Do you think the defensive enforcer is dying out a bit in football, with maybe the rules changing with tackling a bit, or just football developing? Do you think is it dying out in the modern game?
Well, the proper hardman, yeah, it's dying out. I mean, you can't get away with a lot of stuff anymore, you know, especially when you have 100 cameras on yourself and the VAR make every decision, or make the referee review a lot of stuff. We still have a couple of hardmen in the game, but it's not how it was back in the days, you know, with the likes of Vinnie Jones, Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira, and so on, so on. So it's quite dying. It's a quite dying breed, but. I think in every team you still need a hardman or someone who can put in a tackle and a shift and the work rate. So this is a away match in Blackburn. Zabaleta's covering me on the right side, and I knew that the player was coming, and I always was waiting for that little extra touch of the player that when he touched a little bit too far, I could go straight into it. And of course now it was also, if I look back to this, it was kind of a two-footed tackle. But I mean, it was a great tackle. The player was not moaning, the referee was not moaning. That's also something to just put your stamp on the game. That they know every time when I pass one player, there's always a second player that I have to pass. And that's what I always try to do. I always try to cover my right back or the left back when they were 1-against-1. Yeah, this is the second one. I think it was with Richard Dunn, my former teammate at City. And you know, when he's come storming at you, you know, he doesn't take any prisoners at all. So I had to go two-footed there, because I know when I go just only with 1 foot, I think he will do me. So. He was another tackle on Fernando Torres in the box. He was going on the goal. 1-against-1 here, Jolien on the outside, and yeah, I had to time it right, and I always try to go down in a tackle a little bit earlier, so it gives me a little bit of time to slide. If you go too late, you might get another extra touch, or the ball is already gone. So I always slide a little bit earlier than whenever the opponent thinks that you can get him, because it gives you a little extra time, like a 1 or 2 second time. So that was also a great tackle, and. That's why I was so good at it back then.
De Jong slides in with that long right leg.
The thing is, it's like when you go in a tackle, you have to be sure, right? So most of the times I was sure. Of course, there was a lot of times that I picked up a yellow card, you know, for a bad challenge. But I mean, when you go into a challenge, you have to be 100% sure, and that was my mindset. My mindset was always like, if there's a 50-50, you gotta make it an 80-20 at least, in order to get the ball and occasionally take a player out. That was for me also not injured, but also let him feel like, okay, the next time I come on the dribble, I know Nigel de Jong is somewhere around that area, knowing that he can put a tackle in.
Look at this clip of Zabaleta.
Oh, Mr. Zabaleta, he was a proper hardman as well, man. You know, it felt like every game he came out of the game with a gash on his forehead or in the back of his head. He always had something, but it just tells you that this guy is just, his mentality was second to none. Bad challenge by Mangala, because he should have known better, because he's seen him coming. But this is typical Zabaleta, you know, he doesn't stop. He doesn't go out of the game and say, you know what, I need some stitches, my head hurts, I'm gonna go out of the game. He stands up and plays and continues. And also that's why I think he's a massive crowd pleaser, you know. The people really could identify with him, the way how he was, the way how he always stood up and continued the game. So he's an absolute legend for the club, and a proper hardman as well. There were many occasions that we challenged up and we tag team on certain players. He took the outside, I took the inside, just to make sure that the player wasn't going anywhere. So he was that type of player that was always up for the challenge. He would never shy away for a challenge, and that's why I loved him, man. And that's why till this day he's still a fan favorite.
Zabaleta applauded as he gets back up to his feet.
Yeah, Kolarov. I mean, Kolarov was something else. And saying that something else, I mean, his mentality. You know, I don't know if you know any Serbs or people from that area, Croatia, Serbia. They have certain passion. Of course, this is a challenge from Fellaini that came on his face, but it's the reaction that comes after. You know, like, don't mess with me. And he wasn't afraid for anybody. Not afraid for anybody. And he lost his tooth here also in that match, but that says something about his mentality as well.
Was it a nice guy off the pitch?
Fantastic guy.
Hard man on, but nice guy off it.
Yeah, but most of us are. You know what I mean? Like, most of us are. I mean, when you go on the pitch, you know, you just switch. You switch a button, and then you press a button, and you switch to a complete different player. You know, we can be best friends off the field and off the pitch, but when we're on the pitch, you know, I mean, there's no friends. And he was one of them as well. I mean, off the pitch, man, he was fantastic. Fantastic lad in the dressing room. You know, he always loved a good atmosphere, and yeah, we had a good group, very good group. Goalkeepers have they always say about goalkeepers they have a little screw loose. You know, I played with many goalkeepers. One of them was Joe Hart as well. He was also a crazy one when it comes down to try and defend one against one situations. And yeah, Edison was hard in this sense, yeah. But I don't really think he's a hard man. When you're talking about the hard position, about holding midfielders or certain players, this was a bad challenge by Sadio Mane, and it just depends on how the player will react to a challenge like that. And of course he stood up, continued the game, but it was a bad challenge, it was a red card, of course. It just reminds me of a tackle that I've seen in 2010, you know, during the World Cup. I don't know who it was, but it wasn't me.
The ball's there. Can he get the nick? Can he get the nick? No. The keeper just gets his head there.
Next one, Bert Trautmann. Came to England as a prisoner of war from Germany.
I've heard that, and of course this is far before my time. I must say, I'm not that old yet. But he's a City legend, you know. Everybody knows him at City. But he was regarded also as one of the legends and a proper hardman. I think in these times, man, I always have a feeling that everybody had to be a hardman in this time. You know, there was no cameras, what we have right nowadays. There was no VAR system to put in place. So you just had to hold your own. And the referee couldn't always see anything, and you got away with a lot. But he was a great player. Defended his territory very well. Yeah, breaking your neck. I mean, Bert Trautmann, breaking your neck and keep on playing. I mean, that says something about the player that he was back in the days, you know. And of course, with the modern technology, everything is a little bit different nowadays. But back in the day, you couldn't moan. Moaning was not accepted. So that's why he's also regarded as a legend at City, and also being one of the hardmen in the history of City.
And Trautmann's game as ever. Injured or not, he's determined to pull his weight.
Yeah, I absolutely love this fella, man. I absolutely adore him. You know, the fact that he came in his first year and won Player of the Year award already in his first year, and being an absolute stud in the middle of that, in the center of that defense for Manchester City. Of course, City always had his defensive woes over the years, but I think with Dias, he made everybody play better. And I think that's a great ability to have as a central defender.
Takes the ball in the face, no problem, gets up again.
No. But that's what I like, you know. I mean, that's what you have to be also as a defender. You can't be getting the ball in your face and just moan around as a defender. Come on, where's your credibility going? You know, that's not what you want to see. And not as a manager, but also not as your teammate. So I love these players. I love this type of players that just stand up and just go. And yeah, I'm happy that he plays for City and not for any other team.
Blocked there by Ruben Dias.
Andy Morrison is also a City legend, and especially the way how he played, what kind of influence he had at City as an organization as well. I spoke to many old players before about him, and he was an absolute stud. And of course, it was not in the time that City is nowadays, but he's influential. And he was also some of these type of defender that didn't shy away for a challenge. And just the fact that you see a clip here that they go at each other, you can't do that nowadays anymore. And of course, he gets a red card for that, just pushing somebody in the face. But it's the matter of the fact that the intimidation factor is there as well. And he was a great central defender. He was an absolute legend, and I would take him on my team any day. If we could do a team nowadays with the central defenders, you need proper hard men like that. It doesn't shy away.
There was nothing in the game, and the lady lounge person had one of our players sent off, and one of theirs sent off.
This was at the end of that crazy QPR game. That was Les Chapman, the famous former kidman from Man City. We had a great relationship. He was an absolute clown and an absolute great guy to have also in the dressing room, and he was also influential for the team's success because he gelled everybody together in the dressing room, joking around, especially because we had so many foreigners, and he was always there to break the ice. And that challenge was more towards him because I was always looking for him because we were always joking around and we always go back and forth. And what I said, there was no malice in that. He came down perfectly. There was no harm done, or no broken bones. So it was just a little touch, just the happiness of us making it and winning the Premier League. I mean, sometimes when you have adrenaline and you're happy, you don't know what to do. But with him, it was always good fun.
De Jong, a first ever goal for Manchester City for Nigel de Jong.